So, Spurs remain in the relegation zone for another week after a tough draw at home to Brighton and teams like West Ham, Forest and Leeds picking up some good points. Spurs are looking closer and closer towards going down to the Championship, that dreaded relegation. These are their fixtures remaining as well. Wolves away, Villa away, Leeds at home, Chelsea away and Everton at home. Not a bad run-in, actually, especially considering the ones that Forest and West Ham have. It's probably a little bit easier. But do this Spurs side have the steel, have the fight, and have the signs? I've seen the signs that they're going to stay up. We'll go over the Brighton game a little bit later in this video. I've got some screenshots and whatnot I'm going to analyse from the game. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough run-in. This is not easy. Again, I'll analyse this a little bit later. But with the points that the other sides are picking up, especially Leeds, I think, are now safe. Forest, again, pulling away now. I think they're 5 points clear of Spurs at the time of recording. West Ham, I think, are the only real team you can rein in. And as a West Ham fan myself, I really hope you don't, lads. I really hope you don't. But we'll go over why I think it's possible that you will in this video. So, behind me here, I have some screenshots. And up here, I got from SofaScore the average positions for Spurs from the game. There's a few key points I'd like to pick out for why I think Spurs looked a bit better, especially progressing the ball, on the ball, creating chances than they have for quite a lot of the season. I think that's been Spurs' main issue this year, especially under Frank. Throughout the early parts of the season, they really couldn't create chances. They really couldn't progress the ball. A lot of it just sort of went through Kudus, who isn't available now, obviously. So what we saw today with the Zerbi, really better than we've seen. Let's go over why I think that is. We'll start with Udogie here, number 13, the fullback. Provided a lot more width than we've seen for Spurs all season down that left-hand side, really. It's been Jed Spence playing left-back, who has had a successful campaign. He's been called up to England, but for me has actually really limited Spurs, especially going forward, and has hurt this man, number 7 season, Xavi Simons, a lot. Because they're both right-footed, down the left-hand side, they both want to cut in, they both contradict each other, and they both hurt each other going forward. They take up each other's space, they get in each other's way, they don't provide width, and they don't link up in the way that I think the winger and the fullback should. But with Udogie, it's been a lot better. This game was some of the best progression I think we've seen from Spurs all season, and it's led to good chance creation. We can see here, this is the first goal. Udogie here staying out wide, providing a better option, a bit more threat, something else for the Brighton defence to think about, which gives Xavi Simons here in the centre a lot more space to work with. And it also means he's got 2 options. He could have come down here, give the ball to Udogie to put a cross in, or what he actually did. A nice spin, a ball in, and a late run from Porro, headed in, 1-0 for Spurs. So Udogie was a big help with progression, a really big help getting the ball up, a really big help for, giving Xavi Simons the freedom to go inside, because Udogie is going to give that Brighton defence something to think about out wide here, which hasn't been the case, as I said, all season with Jed Spence. Other things that I think have helped in this game, these two, number 30 and number 8, Bissouma and Bentancur. Bentancur was the main one that De Zerbi likes to have, to drop in with the centre-halves and to help with the goalkeeper, create the diamond and the triangle and whatnot for them to have more passing options, make it easier to build out from the back. And, we saw a lot of it down this left-hand side, which is where Bissouma comes in, number 8. This created another triangle here, another triangle here. It made progression a lot easier, and it got them down where you really want the ball to be with Udogie, with Xavi Simons on the ball in the final third, creating chances. So this is something we're going to have to see how it progresses. Obviously, Udogie struggled with injuries all season. Can he keep himself fit for the running? So I think he's going to be massively key for Spurs going forward. Bissouma also dropping in here helped with Udogie's defensive frailties. provided a bit more cover against somebody like Minter, who was up against this game, who did provide some challenges, but I think, especially in the first half, Spurs dealt pretty well with it, especially Basuma coming in to help Udogie. It helped a lot. Something else to have a look at is Solanke, who for me has not had nearly enough praise for his performance in this game. He was able to pull out, we can kind of see it here, but more, I think, down here, where he would pull out to the left and drag defenders with him. He would hold up the ball really well, allow space for runners like Gallagher, like Mawani, and like Xavi Simons near him. And this actually formed a really nice chance, which we could see down here. This was where Xavi Simons hit the post. And all the way over here, I'm not quite sure if you can see that, all the way out here, Pedro Porro runs into the back post and pulls off a really nice chance, which Bruggen has to do very well with to tip over. But Solanke did really well. He worked really hard. He pulled out to the left-hand side, gave the space for Xavi Simons. Xavi Simons are going to be the key player for Spurs in this run-in. Can they get him in the positions like they got him in today to be a massive, massive threat? We'll have to see again, but I think he did really well this game. Conor Gallagher as well. That's his best Spurs performance easily. He did really well, and he's been misprofiled, I think, by Frank and Tudor, and I think Zerbi has instantly come in, and in this game we saw Conor Gallagher playing the way Conor Gallagher should. High up the pitch, I mean, he's basically a second striker based on average position. And we can see that here in the goal. He was really high up. It actually comes from Solanke and Gallagher pressing a chance down here together, which they did a lot. A lot of goal kicks. They pressed together as a tandem. The front forward pressed together. It was very intense. It was a lot better. And Conor Gallagher's key to that. He's going to run a lot of miles up top for you. He's going to put defenders under a lot of pressure. He's also going to be able to get back very well, very successfully. And he's able to make late runs, which is also a key factor I think we saw for a lot of good chances. Again, Pedro Porro, late run for the goal. Again, there was a late run from him here. It's really important. And I think that is easily Conor Gallagher's best performance. And hopefully, for Spurs' fans' sake, you see more of that. You see him profiled correctly, and you see him utilised more as an attacking midfielder, more pushing up, pressing, late runs, intensity. That is what you want from Conor Gallagher. Now, of course, there were negatives. I'm focusing on the positives here of this game. A lot of the progression, what we saw, that was better on the ball. But there were those mistakes. And the key mistake, Danzo's, which led to the Brighton equaliser, came from something we're going to get into later, which I think is a big issue for the Zerbi side, especially late in the season. Tired legs, fatigue, mistakes. Because while they were really good for large portions of the game, Spurs, at the end, they looked incredibly leggy. They struggled to get out in the way they had been so successful for the majority of the game. And that came from when players like Spence came on. Xavi Simons looked like he picked up a little bit of a knock and he was struggling to get around the pitch. They just couldn't get out in the same way. And that meant Brighton could apply a lot of need and a lot of pressure. And eventually, Danzo, whether it's the tiredness that leads to the mistake or the pressure of the moment, but it gives the ball away and Brighton get a late equaliser. And again, we'll come into why I think this might be a big issue for Spurs in the running. This high-intensity football where this squad has struggled with fitness, it's struggled being leggy with injuries over the past few years, especially under Ange with his intense football. And De Zerbi is similarly intense. So, can Spurs deal with that? And have De Zerbi sides in the past even dealt with it? Let's take a look. So, behind me here, we see some key runs as De Zerbi's time as Brighton boss. This is the one everyone's talked about, his first 5 games where he didn't pick up a win. And obviously that's a huge concern. This was a similar mid-season appointment to his one at Spurs. And with the intricacies of a De Zerbi side, it comes down to whether or not he can get the players on board. And not necessarily on board, but just able to understand, able to pick up on the nuances, able to really delve into his system, the way he likes to play. There's a great quote out there from Lewis Dunk saying how those first few weeks were like hell. So can Spurs pick that up? I think from what I've gone over in this video already, this looks like a Zerbi side. The players are good enough to pick up what he wants to do, and I think they'll be okay in that respect in getting Zerbi's football the way it wants to be played. I think there's enough profiles in the Spurs squad for that to not be the issue. However, this is the issue for me, the big issue, the big concern. His last 10 games at Brighton, his run-in with them, absolutely awful. 1 win in 10, big losses, 3-0 to Arsenal, 4-0 to City, 3-0 to Bournemouth, a really bad draw against a really bad Burnley side where they really should have won. That's the concern. That's the big thing. Can Zerbi really even manage a run-in? Doesn't look like he can based on his time at Brighton. And I think that's the issue with his intense football when it comes to late in the season. Players are leggy, players are tired, there's more injuries that are going to crop up, and can players stay focused for a 90 with that intense football at this point in the season? Doesn't look like it could happen at Brighton. And based on that Danzo mistake we saw at the end of the Brighton game, are Spurs going to be able to deal with it? It's already an intense enough environment at Spurs at the minute. And this football is going to make it, this style of football is going to make it even harder for that Spurs squad to cope. And as I said earlier, I think Udogie's going to be really important for them. Does he stay fit for the run-in? Solanke struggle with injuries. Does he stay fit for a run-in? Do they pick up any other injuries anywhere? Does Van der Ven's obviously struggle? That's going to be a key thing. He hasn't been successful in the run-in before. Can he be now? What's going to change? Are this Spurs squad good enough, fit enough to be able to deal with a run-in? Well, let's go back to their games that they've got for those run-in and see how I think they'll be able to do. So we're back here again with Spurs' run-in. As we went over earlier, Wolves away, Villa away, Leeds at home, Chelsea away, Everton at home. There's points to be picked up here. But I think the big key thing for Spurs will be momentum. Can they pick up momentum at Wolves away? Wolves have done really well at home against big sides, against Arsenal, Villa and Liverpool. But they're down now. I mean, they were effectively down in those games anyway, but they are now down. So is it going to be that same intensity at home, or is that freedom they've been playing with at home, Wolves, going to continue? That's something we'll have to look out for. Obviously, a lot of them Wolves players are going to want to play for a move. So are they going to be up for it? I'd give Spurs the edge going into that game, but it's going to be tricky. Villa away at Villa Park, no chance. I don't think this game bears much discussion. Emery's going to have a brilliant tactical setup, I imagine, for this game. At Villa Park, they're chasing Champions League. They're not chasing it. They're looking to kill it off, make sure they get in it. I can't see Spurs getting much. Home against Leeds, big one. Do they have the momentum from this Wolves game going into it? We'll have to see. Are Leeds already safe by this point? We'll have to see. But Leeds are going to want to come here and put Spurs down and make sure they are safe. So this is going to be another tough one. Can Spurs have the same steel that Leeds seem to have for this relegation battle? Again, we'll have to see. I think it's going to be really tough. I think that could be another one where they drop points. Another hard game. Away at Chelsea, that might even be an easier one than this, I think, frankly, with the way Chelsea are floundering at the minute. They're having to chase for European football, but I don't know they're going to get it. Doesn't look like they're going to get it. They're floundering so much. They're lacking the steel. They're lacking the experience. Rosenior doesn't know how to deal with this squad, it looks like, at the minute. They can't create chances. They can't score a goal to save their life at the minute. That's when maybe Spurs go something and get there. And then it's Everton at home the last day. They've got to. They have to, surely. At home on the last day, if you're still fighting to stay up, you've got to win that. They have to win that. That is a no-brainer. They're going to win it, surely, against Everton at home. So this is a running where they can pick up points. But I think the main thing for Spurs, maybe not as much as the other sides like Forest and West Ham, where I think it's about the battle, about players showing up at the right time, where maybe it's a lack of quality in the squad. Spurs have quality. But are they going to find momentum? Are they going to find results? Are they going to have the steel, the fitness? Are they going to get through these games? Or is it going to be a similar run-in to what Brighton had with Zerbi towards an end of the season? We'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Hopefully, I might be back in the sandbox soon. I put out the first episode of Between the Lines podcast recently. You can go check out that, where I discussed the title fight, the relegation battle with my course mate Sam. I'll probably link that at the end here. But yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.